and feature to interact. So it will be more interactive. All right, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine, man. All right. So today's talk, today's workshop is around. It won't be very deep. It won't be like I won't be showing you a lot of code or other thing because since we are here, you might already be knowing some parts of code. So I won't go into that and bore you. It would be slightly, it won't be into that much depth in today's talk. So the topic is how to build products in hackathon, right? So from most of you might be from students or you guys would be professionals. So I'm assuming most of you are students and just early level professionals. So it's created like that, not much heavy content, right? So just stating the expectations correct. First things first, are you awake? Raise your hand who are awake right now. I mean, I'm awake. With me. All right. Two folks I can see. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Because in hackathons, in the end, it's usually like, it's like this. If Red Bull is not there or tea or coffee is not there, it's difficult to be awake. Nice. Seems like you guys are quite excited. Interesting. So how to build products in hackathon? So I'll give you a brief about me. So I'm founder of an organization called Assemble. I'm a developer at core, having more than a decade of experience. On the technology side, I am majorly a Monster developer, AWS as a cloud, and majorly I'm expertise in making SaaS products and GenAI products and things like that, even many cloud-based products. I've made many products of my own and many for my clients. On the community side, you might have heard about GDG. I'm very active in that, and I'm also like I'm an organizer there and few other communities as well. And I'm very active into hackathons. Last year, that is just 2023, I've given more than 50 talks internationally, nationally, combined in states, in Central Asia, in Asia, in India, everywhere. Just last year, I have mentored and judged more than 15 hackathons, both nationally, internationally, from the ones like from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology hackathon to a lot of other hackathons. All right. So that's a bit about me. Now, whenever you see this emoji in the deck, just raise your hand, right? All right. So how to start, right? Before that, how many of you are attending the hackathon for the first time? Please raise your hand. Or it's your first hackathon, basically. All right. All right. Right. So majority of you seems like have attended or participated in a hackathon before. Okay, it's 50-50 now. People are slowly raising their hands up. All right. So it's a mix. Good. Nice. So how to start? There are a few things in a hackathon. How to start, right? So either you have a problem statement or you are still figuring it out, right? I know many of you would be still figuring it out, what to solve, right? Which area to solve, etc. How many of you already have problem statement identified, which you will be narrowed down that this is something that we'll be working towards? Not yet, okay? Anyone? Interesting. Interesting. So I'm assuming as per the response that most of you, if not all, have not yet identified a problem, right? So I'll go into this and then I'll also go into the case where you have not identified which or finalized which problem you want to go into for this hackathon. So if you have a problem statement, right? Because once you identify this is something that you will need to go over. Make sure you choose the right problem statement because you don't want to spend time in something which is not a good problem statement which is something which is not exciting to work with, or which doesn't make much value, or you will eventually get bored. And I don't want this to be your last hackathon. And I want you guys to go into more and more hackathon because it's an awesome place to be in. Okay. Say once you have selected the problem statement, right? We'll go on how to select it. But once you have selected the problem statement, right, try validating it by peers. For example, say there are 5 teams or 10 teams. I'm not sure what's the scale of this hackathon, or maybe 40 teams, 100 teams. You might be having some friends over there, or you might be meeting some new ones. So try and validating the problem statement, right, with the people you have just met. That, hey man, this is hey Josh, hey Brad, hey Max. This is the problem statement. This is something that I'm solving. What do you think about it? Because if you validate it, most of the problem statements which are bad, you will get it when you talk with 5 people in the room, you will eventually realize it that all right, it felt it is cool, or it's not that cool, or it's not that effective. So you will save a lot of time because you don't want to you don't want to know that thing when you are at the end of the hackathon. It's always good if you can know that earlier, right? Because I want you to make something and make a product out of it, which you can also showcase in your resume, in your CV, and maybe also make some money out of it, right? So this is the first thing you should do once you have a problem statement. Okay, since none of you have raised your hand that you have a problem statement fixed, so this question doesn't make sense. So I'll skip this question. Right. Next thing is having a problem statement doesn't mean that it's a good or a significant problem to be solved. What does that mean? Right. I'll give you an example. Right. For example, say you live in a hostel or a apartment with your friend, and whenever you bring in some snacks, right, some pizza or something which you like a lot, you go to take a shower or you go outside. When you come back, you see your colleague or your friend has he has finished it up, right? So for that, you should not. I mean, it's a problem, of course, but that doesn't mean that you create some kind of an app or a different box, put a Raspberry Pi in it, put an Arduino or something, and make a lock or something, right? Like you don't want to put it in a locker. It's a solution, but it's not worth it. Another example, say in late at the night when you are scrolling through Instagram, for obviously for educational purposes, at times we go to a person's profile. We all have been there, right? We have gone to someone's profile and we go down below, 5, 6 posts, 10 posts. In the night, we don't want to randomly show up in some person's liked list at 3 in the night, right? That is creepy, right? We all can agree, and we all have been there. That's a problem. But that doesn't mean that we make some kind of an app that so say when we are using Instagram, it automatically say disables the double tap input of your phone, right? Or puts an overlay or something like that, which prevents this thing. It's an actual problem, right? We all face it. The solution would work, but it's not something that should be worked. I mean, you can do it for fun, for sure, but it won't be like a product or something, right? So these are some examples that problem exists, but that doesn't mean that you need to solve it. Right? Okay. Before going to the next section, how many of you understand the last part? Just raise your hand. And, if you even have a problem statement, that doesn't mean all problem statements needs to be solved. All right. All right. Looks like a good day for me. Half of the house understood that. Great. Moving on. From my first question, I got that majority of you have not finalized your problem statement. So this part is addressing that. When you don't have a problem statement, So first things foremost, observation is the key, right? Solve for industries, students, any domain group you like to work in, or anything you like to work in or want to go, right? For example, you might be like, I can see someone's logo is like regarding to fitness. I am not into fitness, right? I am not a lean guy, as you can apparently see. But say you are into fitness. So that is something you know. That's an industry that you might know or you are enthusiastic about it. You can observe certain things, certain issues, or certain inconveniences in that industry or in that field. Others like us who have never visited a gym, I mean, once in a blue moon, I might have visited. I might not be able to observe that kind of an issue or inconvenience. You can, right? So observation is the key. Right? Solve for industries, solve for groups where you can either have a good observation or where there's a good money or something, or where it's fun for you to work in. Right? Don't make a like assume that this is a problem that exists in a corporate. Right? Most of you might not have worked in a corporate. And solving for corporates, yes, it makes money, but it's boring. Right? We don't want to work on something which is boring. All right. If you don't find a good problem statement, right? As you guys are still figuring it out, there could be possibility that the hackathon organizers might have provided some issues or some themes. I mean, I'm not exactly aware of that. That is somewhere where you can take some problem statements. Or if that is something which doesn't excite you, what you can do is you can search for UN's top issues. Right? There are a few more, but these are the top 17 issues, right? That UN published. Right? These problems are there. These are real problems. So the best part about this is if you are completely out of blue, that what problem would I solve today? Right? You can like we all can agree that these are the problems that exist. So you don't need to prove that this problem exists. So a big part of your task is done. Problem exists? Yes, absolutely. The world agrees that these problems exist, right? So you can pick any one of them and you can start thinking of any solution into it. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if it makes sense. I can repeat on that part as well. All right. All right. Perfect. Now, once you have finalized the problem statement, repeat the steps discussed as above. Right. In the initial, when we discussed that, if you have a problem statement, right, what you should do or what you need to do is validate it with your peers, right, and other things that we discussed earlier, right. So get a problem statement, then go to that, do that steps, and then move forward. Right? Once problem statement is finalized and it's a good, genuine problem to be solved, congratulations, 1/4 of your task is done. Right? You have selected a good problem statement, which you have validated as well, right? Moving on. Now, since the problem is finalized, making a video or post or getting more validations and getting sign-ups or something like that is very much helpful. Why? I will tell you. A, we don't want to do something or make something which is not very much useful. B, getting sign-ups shows a proof of work, right? Shows a proof of demand, right? Say if you are not taking a problem from that, you know, existing problem sets, then getting sign-ups means that okay, your solution makes sense because you have people onboarded on your solution, right? Get at least 10 users to sign up. 10 users is a very easy number. How it will help you? One thing, as I said, it will validate your not just the problem but also solution. Okay, if you can find 10 folks, you're like, okay, something is there, right? Something someone might use it. Second thing, once you get 10, 20 people to sign up, and it's not necessarily to get 10, 20, 50 people from the hacker space or from the hackathon. You can put a video or a post on your social media, right? On Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, or even TikTok, whatever you like. What it will do is some of your friend who is not in your hackathon will call you or drop you a text that, bro, this is something cool, or or completely contrast that, why are you making this, right? It will also validate it, and if it's good, then you'll get a very good positive feedback, which will keep you motivated to work on it, right? Make sense? Raise your hand if it makes sense. It's a very simple thing, right? All right, moving on. Let's talk about solutions, right? We need to pause here for a second and understand that not all problems can be solved by just tech, right? I mean, I'm an engineer by profession, right? So of course, it's in my best interest that all or majority of the problems can get solved by the tech, but it's not always the case. Why? Because like it's not always the case. Why? We'll go into that. Right. But once again, not all problems can be solved by tech. We think that, okay, this problem will solve poverty by tech, will solve this by tech. It's not. Reason being, majority of big problems are a combination of operation challenges, distribution, monetary and like finance, resources, minerals, awareness, and a lot of combination problems, social stigmas, etc. So tech cannot solve all of it. We need to understand it. Right. Many problems, tech is something what we call as a assistive solution or an assistive aid, right? It's not something that will solve it. It might make some parts of it less inconvenient or less of an issue, but it's still a win, right? It's still a win, a small step towards it, right? But we need to understand it. We can't get disappointed that, okay, in this problem statement, I can't do anything because of this reason, because of political reason, because of geographical reasons, because of demographics. Okay, you can start small, take a small subset of that problem statement and make it less inconvenient, make it less of an issue, right? One real good example of a real Indian problem, I can take problems examples of globally. This is something which I liked a lot. That's why I put here in the deck. Here is a product, right? There are calculators, there are apps, there are millions of apps on our smartphones everywhere, right? But this is something which I liked a lot because of how simple it is. The detailed but yet simple on the execution. This is a smart calculator, right? Now, when we talk about a smart calculator, you would be like, what's so smart in it, right? I mean, iPhone has it since decades. Android has it since decades. Why can't a shopkeeper use his or her phone? But that's not practical. You see, the target audience that is there, it's targeting small shops, right? For example, you can see a photo of a shop owner. That's the size of its shop, right? But still, he gets a very big footfall, right? It's not feasible for him to take out his phone from the pocket, open the app, put down the details, or scan a QR code. We might think that, okay, just scan a QR code or scan a barcode. That's good for a supermarket like Walmart or something, right? Or Best Buy. But for a small shop, when one person is handling everything, it's not possible. What this does it, you just enter the amount, press enter just like a regular calculator. It has a small chip inside it and it talks with your phone. Of course, phone is there, but you don't take it out. It's like a small device, just like a calculator. So at the end of the day, it gives you your P&L, that is profit and loss, what happened, analytics, everything. But your interface is very important, right? That's this calculator, which all the shopkeepers or all regular shop owners or mom and pop store owners, they are used to use. Right? That's why it's so simple, but it's so genius. Right? It's not sponsored or something. I mean, I hope they pay me, but it's not sponsored. Right? Most of the products, right? we think but this is what I call smart. Right? Most of these products that we claim it's smart, it's just gimmick. Right? Like creating an app doesn't mean it's smart. Putting a chip inside a refrigerator or a fridge doesn't make it smart. I mean, it's smart, but you don't like you don't need a smart fridge, right? Some stupid examples worth mentioning. Have you seen the smart mirrors or concept of it? Raise your hand if you have seen some kind of a smart mirror, right? Looks like other folks doesn't travel much. All right. So there are a few kinds of smart mirrors in concepts and even in real life. You can see in some hotels, in some public restrooms, but high-end restrooms, they can show a few things, do some tasks, or maybe have some lights inside the mirror. Right? Conceptually, it sounds like a very great idea, but in reality, say when you have some hot water coming out, right, and it's a humid place, this happens, right? In winters, it happens like this. We have hot water coming in, there's steam, and the glass is completely fostered, right? Then there's no use of that smart buttons or anything. It's not a smart mirror, it's a pointless mirror. I mean, pun intended, it's a pointless mirror, right? So not all solutions need to be fancy, right? Not all solutions needs to be techy. Simple. Moving on. Don't stress much about revenue models, right? Focus on delivering major value or delta. Right? A lot of companies across the world, right? A lot of startups, like which have started in last few years or decades, they have raised so much amounts of money from the venture capitalists, from the private equity funds. Some of them are even public, right? They still have not figured out about what are their revenue models, right? So it's fine. You might not get your revenue models if they have not get that revenue models after having raised so much of amount of money, after having some professional people who are expertise in finance sitting on their boards. If they have not figured it out, then if you can't figure it out, that's fine. I think, right? You're a tech guy. You can't do everything on in 2 nights. So it's fine. Don't stress about it. But focus on delivering value instead. Right? Even big giants, as I said, they have again this is a very in Asia centric example, but it makes sense. It's a small video of him. Right? So that's a company which is having one of the largest number of users in the finance sector. Of course, it's not a bank. There are banks which have bigger numbers, but it's other than banks, a fintech company having this number of daily active users. There was a point where this company was having the highest DAUs globally, right? But still, they haven't figured out the revenue models. Of course, now they have some different revenue models, and they are making some money. Of course, not profitable yet, but that is after having so many users and after so many iterations. So it's fine. Coming on the same point, it's fine. Don't stress out. Code and make something. Okay. Next point is don't spend major time in things that don't, you know, either it's not your core product or doesn't give the least value, right? For example, auth as in authentication and authorization, right? Authentication and authorization are good to have, right? But don't just spend your half a day in creating auth, right? Creating auth, creating a sign in or sign up is not a magic potion, right? Anyone can make it. So you won't be judged on that. Of course, if you're coming on a hackathon for the first time, if you are, say, in your first year college, you're a freshman, right? If you're in second year, of course, if you if you can't make anything else, sure, make this. But if you think if you can create some core features in your solutions, then go target that first. This is not adding that much value on your hackathon product. or project. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if it makes sense. And of course, anytime if you have any questions, you can shoot questions at me. Okay, moving on. Once you have finalized your solution, right? Congratulations, half of the task is done, right? Problem statement, done. Solution, done. Half of your task is done, right? Next. Okay. Show me areas of hands which year you are in. I mean, if you are in college, right? For how many of you are in your first year, or you're just inside the college, right? Interesting. A second year, like be a year you are into your university or college or school. How many of you are in the second year? Okay. And how many are you in the senior years? Maybe third year, fourth year, whatever. How many are you? You are seniors. Okay, it's a good mix. Interesting. Thanks. So, how to schedule and plan your hackathon? Right. This is very important. Right. And of course, we cannot run behind schedule if you don't post a schedule. Right. Of course. If you don't create a plan, you can't fail your plan. Right. So consider just 60% of the total hacking time as the time you have. This is as per my personal experience. Like I have been to many hackathons as participants when I was in college. I mean, I'm not that old, but even as a mentor and a judge, consider 60% of the total time. Let's say it's a 24-hour hackathon. Right? I don't exactly remember how many hours hackathon this is. Let's say it's a 24-hour hackathon. Just consider 60% of it. Right? Getting me? So 50% is like 12 hours. 60% will be like 14, 15 hours, something like that. Just consider that much hours because you spend some time networking, you'll spend some time, maybe you will sleep for an hour or two, maybe you'll go out to eat, right? And you'll have some unpredicted moments. So don't consider you have 24 hours or you have full time. Consider 60% time and plan according to it, right? Next, block 1 hour or maybe 2 hours and make a simple static website or something. You know, make something that you can showcase. It's if you are techie, it is more it's better to showcase what you are making on maybe a website than maybe a PPT, right? Or by PPT I mean a presentation, Google Slides or whatever you guys use, right? Microsoft PowerPoint, whatever. It's and you can use something like say WordPress or say Shopify or Wix, whatever. There are thousands of tools. Now, in fact, we have many which are AI based, like say Framer, right? There are many ones, and most of them are free, right? You can try it. They are drag and drop. Many of them are prompt based, right? So you can try it out. So, especially if you're first, second year, as some of you are, if you're not able to make a complete product or something, at least make a website, right? And for you, you can try to make it via code. Right? You might not win the hackathon. That's fine, but you would still the moment the skills that you took inside a hackathon and the moment that you came out of it, there will be a delta of your skills. You would have learned some skills, right? And that is something that you could put in your resume as well, in your CV. That will help you in your getting an internship, getting a job, right? So do this if you can, of course. Use something like a Kanban or like GitLab, Trello, whatever you like Make.com, Monday.com, whatever free, paid, premium, whatever you like. Use something like that to plan your day or plan your project because there are two benefits of this. One, you will learn how things are done inside an industry. Say you are a team of two people or three people, right? There are three students or four, whatever. If you have things planned out, maybe you don't use this. Use your dumb sticky notes. That are also very easy, but yet very powerful tool. Use your sticky notes, like post notes, whatever you call it. Use that and create the, like say for example, you are making a solution A. For that, there are 20 tasks to be done. On each sticky note, put the task, right? How many of you have watched the series Silicon Valley on HBO or somewhere else? Raise your hand. It's an old series. Okay, that's fine. Go watch it after the hackathon. I think few of you might have seen it, right? There's a scene inside in that some part of it. They have a Kanban on the wall. They have sticky notes with tasks, and they are competing inside. Okay, I did this first. I did this first, right? It's easier when you visualize your tasks, believe me, and it's easier to coordinate between your team. Next, create the task which will be required to do the project. As I said, either on sticky notes, post-it notes, or on a software. Assign approximate hours as per what you think. For example, if you are creating a landing page, right, and if you think it will take 3 hours, write 3 hours below it, right? If you're making some app, write this many hours, whatever, task and hours. After that, arrange your tasks in the order of most value. For example, you have 10 tasks, right? Once you have added the hours and you written the task details, the task which will deliver the most value or which is the most core product of your solution, take it to the top, and the one that is having the least value, put it on the bottom, right? If the total hours is more than 60% or 80% of the total hack time, right? As I said, right, consider 60 to 80% of the time, then nuke some task. Okay? So, like after you have ordered it, right? We all know sorting, right? How to sort your array, just like that. Sort the list. Just focus on the high value ones. Don't assume you make all of it. If you can analyze beforehand starting that okay, total number of hours uh, of the hackathons or by our team as well. If you are not able to do it, then nuke some tasks. That's fine. That's so many things to do, right? Understand? You might be tired. Just listening to it. But it is very helpful, and believe me, it will gain you a very good skill that's required in industry. That's also what hackathon teaches you. That your college won't teach you. Right? So start hacking, right? Make sure no matter what you deploy, right? Because no code, no matter what you deploy it, right? And upload it at least 1 to 2 hours before the deadline. So let's say the deadline to submit your code on GitHub or wherever is say 8 a.m. on Sunday or whenever it's ending. Make a soft deadline for yourself that you have to push everything no matter what at 6 a.m. 2 hours before it. Because what happens in usually in any hackathon, one like at the time of the deadline, say your internet doesn't work or something, some 10 different problems arise. So it's always better to have a soft deadline internally, right? Because it's better to have half code than no code, right? You have done something, then just push it up. It's fine. You might not win, that's fine. Push it. If you are done till here, congratulations. 75% of your task is done, right? So it's a big win for you. Next, biggest gain you could have is networking, right? It's the biggest compounding effect. Network, like when you have entered this hackathon, after exiting the hackathon, you should at least have met 5 to 10 new different people. Believe me, that's the biggest win, right? Not everyone would win this hackathon, right? Networking gives you the best compounding effect, right? That's the best outcome. And yeah, the important thing, don't forget to have fun. That's very important, right? Because I want you to go to many more hackathons. I'm let's move towards concluding this talk or this workshop. I would like to leave you with few points. Great insights can create great impacts, not great tech, right? As developers, as engineers, we like to give tech a very big, uh, you know, big place that, okay, this tech solved this. Usually it's the great insights that solved it and made great impacts, not just the tech. Right? You need to understand it. Okay, let's see some chat GPT and we'll conclude. How many of you use ChatGPT or any LLM, Google Bard or Claude or whatsoever? Raise your hand. Okay. 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Okay. So quite many of you use it. Good. So what you can do is when we are we are looking for validations and suggestions, you can also use ChatGPT for that purpose as well. Of course, validating it with peers is a good option, but even this is a very better option. For example, in the first part, introduce yourself. Give it a context that I am participating in a hackathon. Also specify the hours. If I ask hackathon, I'm a second year student of computer science, engineering. I know bits and pieces of. I'm let me. Not sure if you can. Can you read this? Just raise your hand if you can read it, or if I can zoom it a bit. Okay, perfect. No bits and pieces of HTML, CSS, JS, maybe PHP, right? Or say Python, right? I'm thinking to solve for say any issue. Can you write any domain, any domain issue name in chat? You can provide any industry or any issue, problem statement, anything. Just top of your mind. Okay, I'll do the honors. I'm thinking to solve for issues faced in college or university. Right? I'm thinking to solve for issues within. Yeah, that's perfect. Suggest some problems and possible possible solutions, which as per the time of hackathon and as per my experience and skills, I can perform or at least attempt and learn. Let's say not some, let's say 7 problems. Right, let's see some specific form. Of course, if you are using GPT-4 or paid version of it, there are many new, like if you might be knowing, right? GPT store is live, right? I think 2 3 days before. So there are few GPTs available that validate your pitch deck, right? But if you're not there, this is something that you can do for free. So the problem statements that it gave. So you can use this type of prompt to get suggestions for your. You can fill in your details over here, right? You can fill in your what you know, what you don't know. You can put the domain you want to probably solve into, and get some possible problem statements and solutions for it. Right? This is a very easy but handy prompt for that. Classroom scheduling optimization. This is the problem solution. Course registration and assistance, campus navigation and events, assignment and exam reminder system, study group matcher, resource sharing problem, feedback and grievance portal. Right? Of course, this doesn't sound exciting, right? Because these are somewhat solved, right? But this is something that you can still do for, you know, as per your skills. This is something that you can do. Okay? Another thing what you can do is, say you have a solution, right? You have a solution in mind, you have a problem, just put it down and ask for suggestions. For example, I have finalized, I'm not putting all the details here because I already put it above. I have finalized a problem statement. I would be doing a, say, attendance system using face detection. It's simple. I'm not going to spell exact times. Pardon me for that. Detection. I would be using Python and some AI model for that. Suggest if this is a good problem statement and solution. Suggest issues in it if there are any points, and also put suggestions in points on how to improve it or make it exceptional in time. Right? So you will straight away get the topmost issues that could happen in your product. For example, as you can see, issues to consider. Accuracy and reliability, right? Absolutely bang on. Right? I have made face detection apps earlier. There is issue of accuracy and reliability. And this is something that you can easily understand, right? Data privacy, of course. Where does this photos get stored? Right? Where does this media is getting stored? How have I as a student giving my consent to it? I have not agreed to it, right? I have not checked that mark. Integrating with existing systems of our college attendance, that could be an issue. So what say if they don't provide any API? It's a closed source software. You can't do anything with it, right? Suggestions. Use pre-trained models, fine. Use friendly interface, fine. Real-time tracking, it's good. Data visualization. Once the data is collected, you can visualize on your dashboard. Multi-platform compatibility. Mobile apps, web browser, maybe smartwatch. You never know. Sky is the limit. Offline mode, that's very good. Machine learning enhancements, okay. Scalability, okay. Documentation, okay. Legal and ethical consideration, again, it's the same line where we talked about in privacy. Testing and validation, and feedback mechanism. So basically, if these few types of prompts you can use to either validate your problem statement, B, get suggestions on what problems can you solve, and C, you know, validate or get suggestions on it. So that worst case scenario, you can at least get prepared for the judging round. Right? It's a brownie tip. Unfortunately, I won't be able to judge this time because of time issues. So that's why I can give you this brownie points. You can be prepared for your evaluation round by using this. You know the Q&A, right? You can ask it what kind of questions would the judge ask, or what is the expectations laid out. You can ask it. It will give suggestion, right? So we are towards the end of it. Let's summarize. High ambition, low execution, right? If you are setting really high ambition for your hackathon, that we'll do all these of tasks, we'll make a super app in just 24 hours or 48 hours, and we will not be able to execute it. It will not, be a very memorable and a joyful event for you. So manage your expectation and your execution, or ambition and execution at a reasonable rate. So you will be more happy and you will learn quite more. Right? So that's a wrap. Right? I would summarize. Start how to create a problem statement, validate a problem statement. Right? If you don't have a problem statement, how to get a problem statement. Once that is done, next part was solution. Not all solution needs to be techy. Simple solution, revenue model is fine. That's there. Third, you know the points, right? Network, have fun, right? These are the things I would like to leave you with. If you have any questions, above and below as well, there are my links, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm very active over there, right? You can reach out to me anytime during the hackathon, after the hackathon. Right? Feel free to reach out. If you have any questions, ask ChatGPT, not me. I mean, okay, you can ask me over here. We still have 5 minutes. Thank you for inviting me. Any questions? Anyone? If anyone wants to validate their ideas or anything, mhm. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting. Thank you. Bye bye.
Do you recommend like using an app builder if it's your first hackathon, even though like it will lower your technical score?
Can you repeat the question? App builder. Okay. Yeah. So if it's your first hackathon, that's a good question. First of all, yeah, app builders can lower your score. That's there. But the thing is, if you're not able to make your app, see, it's we need to understand the difference between a hackathon and a techathon, or a codathon, right? Hackathon, it's more about solving, identifying problems, creating a solution. So my perspective, when I'm judging, I'm not judging on the core coding skills. My judgment is majorly towards what we are implementing and what we're trying to solve.
So
That's
would you
my
like,
assertion.
how would I like incorporate the technical aspect if I'm using an app builder?
So see, the thing is, creating an app or a website, basic CRUD app and a website is not a big technical challenge anymore. Right? It's not a very big skill. You can learn it in few hours. Right? I I'm not judging you if like whenever I go in a hackathon, I'm not judging. Okay, you can make an API. Wow, of course, if you are new in the industry, if you are just in the college, it would be a difficult start for you for sure. But creating an API, creating a table where you can insert data or retrieve data or something like that, anyone can do it. Right? So my perspective is the problem that you are observing and what you are solving for it, no matter if you are using an app builder, I don't reduce marks for it. My focus is towards observation till execution. Right. You have something out. Right? If you can code, of course it's good. But if you cannot code and complete it, I mean this is fine. From where I see. I'm not the judge for this time, but I suggest app builder. I'm completely fine with it. That's my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye. Cheers. Have a great hackathon.